Welcome to my sewing studio. I will try and demonstrate the way I am making masks currently. This is my second version of a mask. It's a non-pleated one, but I think it works really well. So first you need some fabric. Cottons are the best because they're breathable. And you want to have a piece that is 9 by 18. Since I make several at a time, I usually cut one 18 inches and then I rip it in half. Since cotton rips really well, I just make a slit and then rip till I get to 18. And I have this lovely handy dandy 18-inch ruler, so it makes life easy. And I make another slit. And I have an 18 by 18 piece, and then I fold it in half, because that will give me my 9. And I make another slit, and then I rip that down the side too, so I have enough for 2 masks at the moment. And I often, if I can, use one of the 9-inch sides to be the selvage, because it doesn't shred, and then I don't have to finish one side, I only have to finish the other side. And that's the next step. So over to the sewing machine. My favorite piece of equipment in the whole wide world. And I set it on a zigzag stitch because it makes the finish really nice. This edge I don't have to touch. This one I am just going to fold over. Maybe a 1/4 inch if even that. And that edge is finished. I have my ironing board all set up and ready to go, so I can do some pressing. And what I want to do is bring the top and the bottom together, the 9 inches together like this. And what I'm going to do is sew across the top, but leave the space in the middle open. Some people like to insert some kind of filter material, so I've been making the mask that way. You wouldn't have to do this if you just want it more like a kerchief, but I'll show you how to do it this way. If you didn't want to have an insert, you would just sew it all the way across, but since I do, I change it to the straight stitch, and I sew about 2.5, 3 inches, and then I secure the stitch either by going backward. Right now my machine doesn't go backward. The program on the reverse stitch is out, so I use my knotting program. I skip about 3 inches or thereabouts, and then I sew the last couple inches. Like I said, if you really aren't interested in having a filtery fabric in there, you just sew it straight across all the way. I'm ready for the wire insert. You open up your seam and have it just below the top. You're going to put a little bit of wire in there so your nose can be shaped. So maybe a 1/2 inch, if even that. And I go ahead and press it. It just makes it easier on the turn. Although the very next thing I'm going to do is turn this right side out. And repress it. And that's really easy to do because you've already got it pressed the wrong way. Now you're going to press it the right way. And you can go ahead and press the whole thing so that it's creased at the bottom. Okay, the next step will be to put your wire in. From coffee bags, it's just a really nice, dense, washable, because they're mostly plastic. But if you don't have that, you can get creative, and you can, if you save twist ties, we've got some really nice gardening wire that's about the right. So I think I'm going to start using this for the nose. But, so that's what, if you have it open, you can slide it in that way. If you closed it all the way off, you just put it at the top. And you put it in the middle. You can kind of feel it with your fingers. I can feel the edge there, and I can feel the edge there. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, but you do want it to be up to the top. That's why you leave that bit of a overhang to be able to sew this in place. So you sew it next. If you're not sure where that is, you can feel it with your finger, but you could also bend the fabric back, because you can break a needle if you try sewing through that wire. Again, I'm going to knot my stitch because I can't go backwards. On your machine, you probably can. So it's just below where I know the base of that wire is. Then I lift and turn, and I'm going to completely encase. And I can feel it right there. I turn it, and then I'll sew it to the end. And that's it. You got this nice wire to shape around your nose. So this is the top of the mask. This is the back of the mask where the opening is if you left it. This is where you have some choice. I have a whole lot of things like seam binding that, I pick them up at the Goodwill and that kind of thing. So on my edges, I've been sewing that before I fold it over. But you wouldn't have to do that. So if you don't have this available, I'm going to show you another way. What I would do with this is take the seam binding, put it behind the raw edge of the fabric on the side, and I would just tuck it down a little bit. I would reset my machine to zigzag, and I would sew this all the way down. And I can keep that seam binding about on the 1/2 inch mark, because that's about how wide it is. And when I get to the end or close to the end, I leave a little bit of length so that I could just fold that up. Again, I get pretty picky on things like finishing because I've been sewing for a long time. You wouldn't have to do that. And then I sew it to the end. And I would do the same on the other side. But let me show you another way you could do this. Fold this just a little beyond where the bias, the seam binding was. Press it good. And take it back to the sewing machine and reset it to straight stitch and stitch it all the way down. And again, I'm going to knot my ends just because I don't want them to rip out. But if you have a machine where the reverse is working, you would reverse it at the end. Okay, and that would be a way to make the casing. If you don't have anything to bind your mask in, you've got a couple options here. Some people would double fold this to make the casing, where you would fold it once and maybe press that, fold it again, to make a casing to put your ties through. So you could do it that way. Or you could press it over about a 1/2 inch again. And you want to be on the back, or you're creating the back. But if you've made that space, make sure you're on the back. And bring it over here and do the zigzag on that edge. So I'm going to finish this one on both sides this way and then show you how to put in the ties. How much you can use. If you have a serger or something like that, you could probably use the serger to do that. But it finishes nice and it takes care of most of the ravelly strings that would tend to happen with the raw edge. I'm going to do that on the other side. I finish both raw sides of the mask that way.
Awesome.
Now I'm ready to put in the tie.
Great.
And that's it. Seriously. It's a continuous loop.
Okay.
So you need 4 feet of something. Ribbon would work fine. Long shoelaces. I happen to have several things that I'm going to use up that I've just collected over time. So I think I've been using this up. It's kind of like a lace. This one's pretty heavy duty. You wouldn't need one that heavy duty. You need 4 feet of it. So that would be, if you're going to buy a shoelace to put in there or have a piece of ribbon, you want to be able to tie it. It's a little short, but I think this will work. This will at least show you what you're doing. If you have ribbon, you can always put a safety pin on the end of it, or a piece of wire, a paper clip, something that you can hold on to, insert it into this tunnel that you made with the fabric. You want to actually start, doesn't matter which side, but you want to start from the top of your mask. The loop part will be at the bottom. If you've never done this before, it's kind of interesting and fun. You push and pull the pin through the tunnel. And you don't want to pull it all the way through because then you'll have to do it over again. So once you get about halfway through, oh, I see something I didn't trim. It drives me crazy. So once you get to the bottom of your mask, you're going to take and go up from the bottom to the top to make a loop at the bottom of your mask. And you'll see in just a second why you're doing such a thing. So again, insert. So see, now you have a loop at the bottom of your mask and tie. Ends loose at the top. You also probably want to put a knot on both ends because it will keep it from sliding out when you wash it, or if you're...
So these are washable?
Oh, absolutely. You could wash and wash and wash them. All right. So here's your mask. This is the inside, or you could put a filter piece in there if you wanted to.
And that's also where the wire is, Mom?
And the wire is right here.
Great.
That will go around your nose. So to wear this mask, you're going to take the loop, and the outside of the mask will be facing you. And you just put it on like a necklace. And then you start to draw the strings on the side. You bring this up over your nose and adjust as needed with glasses and all that kind of thing. And it's a one-tie mask. You just take the ends and tie it behind your head, above your ears. And you've got some room here to adjust if you want. Pull it up higher here, down lower. But it's very forgiving, very spacious, covers your whole nose. You can shape that as much as you want to. Very breathable. That's
Oh, you
in
look
this strange
amazing.
world. I guess we'll have lots of pictures of people wearing masks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yeah.